the Board Game Geek's top 100 list. We're dissecting week by week, and this week we've chosen Legendary, the Marvel game, which currently sits at number 93 as of November of 2015. And we've played this game. Some of us like it, some of us may not like it as much, and we're going to review it in our four traditional categories of components, theme, replayability, and gameplay. And why not start right here on the end with Batman himself? Oh, that's right. I'm Chris.
Hey, everybody. I'm Mike.
The Batman.
And we'll start with components and tell us what you think about it.
The components of the game, I like the components. I really like them. I am a comic book nerd. I've collected all my life.
A man named Batman?
Being that it's Marvel.
You wait for DC Legendary?
Yeah.
Well, forget it, because they've already licensed it to somebody else. They've already got a Legendary type game, but it's not Legendary.
But being a comic book based setup, I enjoyed it. I like that aspect.
But that's more theme.
Yeah, the components, the artwork is beautiful. It's looks like it just come right off the pages of the comic book. The card stock is okay. To me, they could have been a little bit thicker, like a baseball card, to hold up, especially when you're playing. I think after a while you're going to start having messed up corners and stuff, so you may have to laminate them or something to really hold up with it if you get to play a lot. But the artwork, to me, is point. It is on point. When I look at it, it's really eye-catching. And it's, I hate to say the word beautiful, but they're beautiful. So as far as the components...
Batman never sees beauty in anything.
There's not a lot to it. To me, it's it's pretty simple as far as that goes. I will give it, because I actually wanted a little more from it. I'll give it an 8.5 on that, and a lot of that is based on the artwork itself.
Yeah, the components is really not much more to it than some cards, one big board, but that beautiful insert that comes in the box that allows you to sort the cards. The problem is that I've gotten several of the expansions, and they start to run out. You start running out of room to put. Like, you have plenty of room for the villains and the little stuff, but when you have like a bunch of shield agents and stuff, and there's not just a good spot. It needs to be better managed in there. But it's still, I'm not complaining. It's an insert that's geared towards sorting them, and that's a beautiful thing. Especially in a game that comes with so few components, which they normally wouldn't even have to do. Most people just throw their cards in the box and sort them later. But it is Marvel, which is, when it comes to superhero games or superhero themes, I think I recognize a lot of the art straight away. They didn't try to use any of that more esoteric artists doing any of the stuff. They used the basic art that you would recognize, anybody would recognize them instantly from. I think everything, it's from the Legendary system, it's upper deck, so it's like, they've been making cards for decades, so they know the card business. Yeah. And so, I can't complain. It's a card game, and it's made by a card game company, and they throw a board in there for you. That's the way I look at it. So I'm gonna give it a 9 for components, because they do everything right.
Okay. All right.
And that's only because of the insert.
Man, you are loving on that.
That really is some strong love there, but I will agree that insert is pretty nice. If you want to start picking nits, then the Paizo adventure card games, they did a little bit better job of sorting it out there. But that's got a good insert that helps you keep things sorted as best they could for you. And then, I was going to mention the upper deck is it's kind of there. That's what they do. They put out cards. So I thought the components on this was pretty strong. I'm not a comic book guy. I don't dislike them. I just never really got into the collecting of them and everything, you know. So I just sort of know them a little bit, mostly by the movies and things like that. But
And we still like
I still liked the artwork and thought they did a nice job there. The board is very basic, but that's all it needed to be.
it could have been just a plastic thing like Dice Master, you know, like a
Absolutely,
little
yeah.
piece of paper or something. So
No question. So they went through the effort of giving you a little bit more than the bare minimum on there, or actually quite a bit more than the bare minimum. But there just isn't a whole lot to it. Box, basic board, insert, and then a ton of cards. So nothing really all that wrong with it, but nothing blew me away at the same time. So for me, that gives it a 7.5.
and I'm sorry, at this point, Jared would usually throw in his 2 cents again. So
Oh,
do I need to throw that
naturally,
in?
yeah, please do.
We just, we're all out of whack because we don't have somebody interrupting us. So anyway, on the theme.
Theme, being Marvel, it's okay. I'm a DC person, okay? Not that I'm hating on Marvel. I'm not a hater, okay? I'm not a hater. There's a few characters in Marvel I really like. But the theme of it being comic-based is a win for me. I'm always a sucker for something like that. As we talked about in another game, it brings me back to my youth. I enjoy looking at it and getting a story from it and getting involved in it. But there's pros to cons to that, as we'll get to in the next bit. But the theme, I love it. I'll give it a 9 on it. I really like the theme.
I'm a reformed comic book nerd. I haven't collected in a while, but I did at one point have a habit which I've broken. So
Had to chew a lot of bubble gum.
yeah, so I mean I really enjoy the comic book theme, superheroes and Marvel especially, because that was my jam growing up. I wasn't a DC. I was a DC, Marvel mostly. But anyway, the only thing I would take away from it, even though I really like the comic book and I like the Marvel, is that some of the I wouldn't say heroes, but it was an odd mix of people they chose to put in the main box. Instead of I guess they got a reason. Maybe they can sell more expansions if they do it that way. But I always hate that. I feel like I've been ripped off a little bit whenever they put some third string quarterback in the box because they had to fill it or something, and so that took away from the theme only because it didn't feel like they fit together. This enemy, you might be rampaging and you're trying to stop them, but you got to use Spider-Man and Wolverine and Cyclops or something, and which I feel like, why would they be together? Is this a team up issue? Give me some motivation here instead of just randomly pulling out the next hero and that's who you got. So I do like the expansions that Fantastic Four. You can get all of them together and play them and whatever, but I'm going off the box, and the box is you got a random assortment of people that kind of got a lot of famous ones in there to make you want to buy it, but then throw in some of these people
B-listers.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go about an 8.5 on it because I just kind of got the whole hum on what they could have been a great theme. Seems to me like they tried to stretch it for the dollar, and it pulled me away from it a little bit.
It's like you're going expecting Batman, and you open it up, and it's Elongated Man. What? What?
You mean Plastic Man?
No, there is an
Yeah,
elongated
but you're
man.
DC, so Elongated Man, isn't he Marvel?
No.
Oh, is he? Who knows? It's been a while.
Just go back to sleep.
Okay. I know Plastic Man's DC.
Uh-huh.
All right, so theme, huh? Okay. I don't have a dog in this Marvel DC fight. I'm here to tell you.
Independent.
Comic books are comic books to me. Superhero, just slap a color and an animal, and you got a superhero. Pretty well done.
But a
But
shooter and a man.
yeah,
Fireman.
Sure.
Roach man.
Oh, he's my favorite. But anyways, being that they went with the theme, the comic book theme, the superhero theme, I think they did a great job. Obviously licensed it through one of the biggest, one of the top two that they could have gone with. So it's not a theme that I'm super excited about or anything, but I think for what they chose to go with, they did a good job with it. And it's a cooperative game, so you feel like you are kind of a part of a league or a clan or a group or a posse or whatever they call those things. The X-Men
It's
and all
uncanny.
that. Yeah, there you go. Thank you. But anyway, I think it was pretty good. Not the theme that I usually look for first out of the box, but for what they decided to go with, I think they did a nice job on it, and I'm actually going to give them an 8 on it. I thought it was pretty well done.
Astonishing. All right, so it goes straight into gameplay.
Well, here's the disappointing part.
Uh-oh.
The first time I played it, it was on my birthday. I was excited. I looked at it. I was like, all right, this comic-based thing. Once we started getting to it, it was starting off slow. As I heard from another person, it was kind of static. I had fun playing, but yeah.
I think the microphone picked up that heavy sigh.
Yeah.
Did you get that?
As far as gameplay, I would have to. I'll give it a 7. I know I'm gonna hear it from him.
Nothing wrong with a 7.
7's respectable.
Yeah, but that's
All
as
these
high as I can
adjectives he's
go.
throwing is not though. For gameplay, for me, I thought it was pretty good. Matter of fact, I think a lot of people agree since they broke out to different legendary other games such as Alien. I don't know what else they come out with yet, but it's a 1 to 5 player game, and so any game that has a system set up where you can play this heroes as by yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little different for the rules, but it's a 1 player game, and so. I thought for a card game especially, that any card game you can play as a solitaire game or with other people automatically gets the benefit of the doubt for me. And I enjoyed it. I don't know, some people complain that it was kind of repetitive and you feel like you're just drawing and playing and drawing and playing, but that's really essentially every game. And to me it felt like, because it's a cooperative game, you're all trying to take down the big criminal mastermind, and you're all kind of like waiting to see what the next card is going to fall there. If he's going to be able to stop you or if you're going to get a good break. And it felt like it had a good balance of, it didn't feel like we were overwhelming the game and the game wasn't overwhelming us, I guess is what I'm getting at. And so that's what I'm looking for, enough tension in the game to keep it going to the end to see if we win or lose. And maybe they could have added something like a step. So if you win one game, you get to add something to the next one, or you get to pull in a team member. The only complaint I have on the gameplay is that it felt like I said before, I'm drawing a hero that, I have no reason why I should have this hero. I have like a deck full of 5 heroes, but so does he. He's got the same heroes as I got. It should be like we're each a hero rather than, and this is I think where Sentinels of the Multiverse got it right, where you play a superhero and you're just one superhero. You have powers that you're throwing at everything, trying to stop the bad guy. But in Legendary, you could all be the same hero. You're just throwing cards out there. And they kind of took it away a little bit. That they could have done something a little different to make it better. And so gameplay to me was an entertaining 8. So I'm going to give it an 8.
I just got spoiled by playing Dice Masters. Dice Masters, if I hadn't played any of that before I played this, it might have been higher, maybe.
He's bucking for Jared's job.
But I was spoiled by Dice Masters, and
You can't play Dice Masters by yourself.
That's true. Oh, he's got you there.
Oh.
Watch me. Just watch me. Is that a challenge?
No, that's true. And gameplay for me was really kind of a tough one. Originally, when I heard this one was on the list for us to review next, I was pretty sure I knew right where I was going to be. But then I had to start thinking about it. It's a cooperative game. I love cooperative games, so that has to go in the pro column for me. Like I said earlier, the theme is kind of a so-so for me, so that's fine. That's neither a plus or a minus. So then you get down to just the actual mechanics of the game, and that's, I think, where the monkey wrench gets thrown into it for me. I haven't quite figured out exactly what it is in the mechanics, in the round of play, that is going to make this exciting and that's going to bring this thing around for me and turn it into a really interesting gameplay experience. I think I was the one who was kind of beating the drum about how repetitive it got for me, and how it just seemed like you're just pulling your cards, you're playing your card, and you're moving on. I didn't feel like I was building up a lot of strategy. I wasn't all that particularly interested in what the other people, even though they were on my team, what they were doing. So it had a lot of the components that I usually like, so that's going to help it, give it an okay grading. But the actual play, when I sat down to play it, it just kind of missed it for me. As was previously mentioned, Dice Masters is a similar idea, and it grabs me. And I really like it. You're trying to figure out what you're going to do. You're trying to figure out what the opponent's doing. It's a lot more going on there. This one, it's not the same game of case. It's not apples to oranges, so it's kind of a hard comparison. But it's the closest thing I could think of, other than Sentinels of the Multiverse, which again, you're playing that guy and you're sending out his different actions and things like that. This game didn't give me that feel, and for all those reasons, it gets a 6 on gameplay for me.
I think that's probably what pulls it away from all the people who complain about the gameplay, is that you don't feel like you're contributing as a member of the team, which is probably why this is better suited to a one-player or a small number of people game. Because then you'll feel more like a team rather than just all of us have the same cards and we're just kind of like choosing which one of us drew it.
I agree. And I'm a big backer of solo games, so that for that reason I think it's great. That's a big thing for me too, for sure. But to wrap it all into one rating, I'll stick with my 6.
All right, and then we go into replayability.
I'll keep this short and sweet.
Shocker.
Short and sweet. If the game was set up and I walked in, the guy goes, "Hey, we're gonna
play this game."
Yeah, we're gonna play this game. Well, okay. I'll sit down and play. I'll pull up my drink and my beef jerky and let's do this thing. If I had a choice, I probably wouldn't picked it.
You go home, you're drunk.
Yeah.
What is this beef jerky?
I've never seen him eat beef jerky once, not one time.
Whatever.
Batman.
I mean, the game was okay, but it's not something I'm gonna pull out on a rainy day and play with my kids or something. If it was set up, like I said, when my friend said, "Hey, you want to play?" and he set it up, I'd play. Outside of that, I really wouldn't. So I would.
Short and sweet.
Replayability. A 5.
5? What?
Yeah.
You heard the man.
I told you he needs to go home.
Sorry.
I don't know why there's so many haters on this game. I like this game. Replayability, especially because it's a single player game, I think should be higher than that. I can't get anybody in my group to play it, obviously. But I think it's got a pretty good replayability just because of it does have enough villains that come with the base set to make it different for a while. and not to mention that it's a single player game, you know. So I think there's a little bit of replayability there that's going to be offered. I would say it's a Dice Masters type replayability, but it's a good. I'm going to go 7.5 because I think it cuts the middle between a 5 and the perfect game. So we'll say 7.5.
7.5. Yep. Yeah, replayability for me on this one would be kind of a tough sell, but that's me. If you like comics, if you like card-based games, if you like the cooperative experience, or if you want to play a solo game that works just as well, you know, there's plenty of games out there that say you can play solo, but it doesn't. You know, it gets clunky and it doesn't work out so well. This game I could see would flow just perfect as a solo game, so that's a good thing there, and that's going to help replayability for somebody who, you know, the group might not be able to get together, but you could still sit down and play. So the theme and the actual gameplay are not my particular favorites, so therefore my replayability score is going to be pretty low, but trying to grade the game on what they were trying to do, you know, to try to be fair with what they intended versus my personal preferences, you know. I think they did a pretty good job. So wrapping it all up with all that, I'll kind of go in between the two of these guys here, and I give it a 6. It's you'd have to kind of convince me to play it, but you probably fill the table up with other people pretty quick. So I'll give it a 6.
So do you think, as you two people who obviously didn't like the game as much as me, if they put a different reason you're playing the game, I guess a different theme?
What's my motivation? Is that what you're trying to
Yeah,
say?
like would something else pull you into the game?
Mafia-based stuff, I always love. Pirate stuff, for some reason, I can't get enough of.
So you think that would be
might have
higher?
helped. Yeah, maybe, but only in the theme category for me. If the gameplay still worked out to where it just kind of draw a card, play a card, never really gets too exciting, never really gets too dull. It's just kind of one round to the next. You know, that I don't think that would change it much for me.
I would like to see more strategy into it, a better choice of cards as far as getting to play. And if it was like a Marvel versus DC, that would really do it for me.
Afford that.
That would really be good for me because I love that stuff. I'm big cooperative, so being a cooperative game pulls me in a little more. I'm not much of a solo. If I want to play solo, I'll play solitaire. Okay, you know. But I'm not much on the solo aspect of it. So if it had more strategy, be able to bring another element into it, I would look at it more.
All right. Well, there you have it. Our 3 scores in 4 categories for Marvel Legendary, which is currently ranked at number 93 on the top 100 BGG list.
Just barely hanging in there.
Yeah, we're going to put the BGG score right over here, our score right here above the game, and what rank it is right over here. And we hope that stick around in the credits and you'll see how that fits into the list we've already started accumulating on the top 100 list. And if you think you agree with one of us, either buy it or don't. And we'll see you next week.
See ya.
Same bat time, same bat channel.